It is January 18th, 2021, and of course this is the video like takes 30,000 to a million. After I take you through the account real quick, I'm going to talk about Apple and its potential growth prospect. And I thought of a direction that the company could grow further, and I want to share that with you. It's going to be pretty interesting and kind of a weird bet, but stick with me and we'll see if that bears out. But first, let's go into the account. So here we go. All right, we're sitting at 144,546, bit of a dip, 2.5K on the last trading day, which was Friday. Right now it's Martin Luther King Jr.'s day, so the markets are closed, and I'm recording a video, which I didn't do, I think, last Thursday. So my positions are on the right here. I'm going to scroll through them fairly fast. You're going to see the ticker over here, the strike price, whether it's a put or a call, the expiration date, number of contracts, and whether it's a sell or a buy. On the right, the number just means daily change in liability. So I'm scrolling in through them. You can pause your video player at any moment to try to find out the exact details of all my positions if you're so interested. And these are my equity positions, starting with Apple up at the top, losing a majority of the cash today. And then uranium sector is down quite a bit too. I'm losing some of that profit on URG. This is pure profit and gain. There's no call sold against this position because it doesn't allow option trading. Virtually everything else is down a little bit. So, and that's about it. Oh, I was forced to buy 100 shares of EURN, URNAV, and that's fine. I'm just going to sell a call against them and see where that takes me. If you want to see the weekly performance, this is it. I'm about even, minus 0.41%. Monthly performance plus 2%. 3-month performance 15.16. And here's the yearly chart, 55.29%. The account tab, if you're interested. Here it is. I've been accumulating some cash again, I guess. 14,700 now. And the rest is options and positions and equity. I'm going to sort by total return. Energy transfer picked up its slack, so virtually I have more or less no losing positions anymore, which is awesome. And this is sorted by equity. You can see my 4 biggest positions here: Apple, emerging market bonds, realty income, which is gonna keep growing, and then energy fuels, energy transfer, etc. So that's it. This is the account. Still steadily moving towards that $1 million mark. Now, I want to talk about Apple a little bit, and I have many videos on Apple actually. It's one of my main positions. I got almost somewhere around 50K in it. It's a third of my account, and there are many reasons why I've gotten into them before. By owning this company, I'm already diversified in numerous sectors and geographical locations, diversified between physical product makers and digital services, different sectors like healthcare, accessories, tech, financials, which is what I'm going to talk about today. And now maybe even transportation. They're thinking of building software for EV cars, right? Or maybe even make a driverless car of their own. And so they've got everything going on, which is the one thing I want to emphasize today, right? Is that this is a trend for all these big companies because they don't want to monopolize a single market, right? They don't want to do a horizontal monopoly. They don't want to, like, for example, take over all of the phones ever made, or even a large share. They don't want to be 50% plus all the phones ever made for consumers. What they do is they enter other markets and try to get a big share of that market. Because if they're deemed monopoly, then the regulators will come after them, governments will come after them. But this way the company can have an extremely large size without ever being a monopoly in any one market. And so it passes all the green light, passes go, collects 200, right? And everybody's happy if you're a share owner. So that's kind of one of the secrets, I think, that nobody wants to talk about from the company for any of those big companies, like Google and Apple, and to an extent Facebook, I guess. So that's one of my big points. So they've entered businesses like healthcare and like financials, and the financial business is interesting because I was just looking at Apple Card, right? And there was some dude that, no, I don't know, it's a dude, some person that compared the number of Visa and MasterCard cards to the number of iPhones out there. So by offering the Apple Card to 1 billion or 900,000, close to 1 billion iPhones, which is an insane number, by the way, considering we're only like 7 billion people on Earth, then the likelihood of one of those users using Apple Card, which is very much integrated with Apple Pay and all the rest of the software there, is very high. So they have a pretty good install base there. And let me just show you this number real quick, which is pretty jaw-dropping. So on the left, you see the number of active iPhones, which is portrayed in yellow, versus the number of MasterCard and Visa cards, physical, like plastic cards, those plastic cards that you carry around, your credit cards. There you go. So you have, like about 330, 40 Visa millions, 340 million in Visa cards, maybe 240 in MasterCard, and then 200 million and maybe 190 million in active iPhones in the US. But on the right, it's even more intriguing. So you have close to a billion, a little bit over 900 million Visa, but the active iPhones are essentially the same. So, I mean, just the financial bit, if every single iPhone user gets a credit card, right, that means that, which is not going to happen, of course, but let me just take a look at the valuation for Visa. I happen to own some Visa, if you noticed, 15 shares. So the company is worth, half a trillion market capitalization. Now, if just the financial wing of Apple gets to that mark, I mean, that's another half a trillion market capitalization on top of what Apple already has. So, and you're thinking, okay, yeah, but that's really hard to achieve, right? Because Apple, we're just talking about active iPhones. Not everybody's going to get the Apple Card, and that's fine. Maybe 1, 5, 10%, I don't know how many are going to get the card, but what I was thinking about is that Apple could become a bank, which is kind of a trend for a lot of these consumer product companies to do their own financing. So I'm thinking they could put everything into an app. I mean, nowadays, all the the newborns, the kids, Generation Z or whatever, that's how they view the world, through apps. So there could be an app of like, hey, I need a mortgage, or I need to finance my car. Well, there's an app for that, right? Apple's doing financing, yeah. So it's very easy, I think, for them to compete with things like Rocket Mortgage or whatever. So what are those companies that just a really easy entry type of here's the money, give me interest over X amount of time type of companies. And I think not only is it easy to compete with them, but Apple will be better at it because they have access to more liquidity, right? They have access to more funds. They can get easy credit from the Fed or whoever they want, really, for a very low percentage, and their profit margins will be even larger than the ones seen from today's biggest lenders, including banks, right? People would be much more willing to lend Apple money than, let's say Wells Fargo, right? I mean, yeah, sure, Wells Fargo's gonna get bailed out, but if you look at it from a perspective like if there was no bailouts, then Apple would be a better credit worthy customer than would Wells Fargo. So my point is that they could really leverage this, and it could be a point of growth for them. Yet another way that Apple could monetize their user base further, which is one thing I mentioned maybe a year ago, is that they were just now starting to monetize their users. And I mentioned things like Apple Music, Apple TV, the App Store, etc. So they're definitely starting to monetize their user base fairly heavy. And I think that that could continue and expand to a much greater degree in the future. So for some of those reasons that I foresee coming there, I think, by the way, the EV thing is probably just going to be a money waste. I doubt they're going to turn it into a profitable business unless they decide to just develop the software and sell it to existing car manufacturers. Unless they do that, I think they're going to be losing on the EV business. It's highly doubtful. It's going to be a money drain to make physical cars. If you're Apple, I don't think so. Anyway, so the financial thing bit I think is really good because it's software based mostly, and a lot of the legal work can be automated and streamlined, and everything can be kind of brought together in a nice little package with all their credit cards, all their financial instruments, etc. And they already have Goldman Sachs backing them up. They already have that relationship, and it's gonna be super easy. So I think it's like a free win. If you're an Apple executive, call me up. We'll talk about it. But I think it's a really good way for them to go, and I think it's going to come eventually. So for that reason, I'm still bullish on Apple. I'm kind of sad that I only have 6 months until my calls expire because I would like to renew them. I want to have calls up like 2-3 years from now, not necessarily now. Because the Apple has run up so much recently. It's definitely correcting, and it could correct further. We'll see. Although with the announcements of the new stimmies, right, people might be reinvesting those freedom dividends into more Apple stock tomorrow. So you'll probably be awake and witnessing that in play as you're watching this. But anyway, I'm not too nervous about it, but I'm definitely still on the Apple train until I see things deteriorate, which I haven't really seen as of yet. The only negative headwind might be increased tax rates in the near future, but I don't think that's anything that Apple can't overcome with some some tax gymnastics, accountant gymnastics, and I think that they have really good lawyer teams and everything, so I don't think it should be a big problem for them. Okay, I think that's about it with the Apple Talk today. Hopefully y'all are making more money than I am, and I'll see you soon. All right, peace out.